This is TWiT.
Theresa May wants to regulate the internet. So the conservative platform, they call it their election manifesto, has a line at the very end, BuzzFeed found this, that goes like this. Some people say that it is not for government to regulate when it comes to technology and the internet. We disagree. So polite, so nice. But what it really means is that the Tories, who, you know, Theresa May wrote the Snoopers Charter. She sponsored it when she was a member of Parliament, got it forced through when she became PM. And now it looks like the Conservatives, if they win the election, and the polls say that May will win a majority in next month's election,
probably, they
will have a mandate to significantly extend internet regulation, all based on the idea, I'm quoting BuzzFeed, that it's a government's duty to protect citizens just as much on the internet as it does in the real world. The proposals, which apparently are all over the manifesto, involve all kinds of things. Legislation would be introduced, for instance, to protect the public from abuse and offensive material online. Everyone would have a right to be forgotten, the right to white material that was posted when they were under 18. Internet companies would be asked to help promote counter-extremism narratives. I don't know what that means at all, but that's scary. There'd be new rules requiring companies to make it ever harder for people to access pornography and violent images. Content creators would have to justify their policies to the government. And by the way, even if Labor won, it ain't so very different. So this is my fear when we talk about fake news and we talk about, you know, how the democratization of that the internet has brought us has brought a lot of negative voices to the fore. I really worry when we say let's control them that this is the end result of it.
I agree. And if you look at the Guardian is not helping things. The Guardian had a story I think we might have mentioned briefly before that goes into the instructions for people who monitor complaints on Facebook. And it's not frightening about Facebook. It's frightening about mankind, what we do and what we do in public. And so you put this kind of stuff out there, and the reflex is surely shut this down, package this, edit the world. But I don't want anybody to edit the world.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, one of the guidelines is revenge porn. Yep, that's reprehensible. It's horrible. Yep. It's the victim has a miserable time stopping it. It's really, you know, something that the internet kind of makes very easy, and I just don't know what the answer is.
Well, I think there should be a distinction too between Facebook versus, you know, the UK's government. Facebook is a closed social network. It's a business. It's a place where you share things and they put ads next to those things and then they make money off of that, right? What the UK is talking about is kind of taking a censorship approach to the internet as a whole as it exists in its country. And those are two totally different things. I mean, now, for many people, Facebook is where they get most of their news and they communicate with friends and families. So in some senses, for those specific folks, it might be their internet because that's the only part of the internet they're hanging out on, but it's not the internet, right? It is a business. It is a closed space. You need a password to get in and all that stuff. It's not public. Versus the stuff that the UK is talking about. And like as you mentioned, between the Tories or the Labour Party, there's not much difference in the way that they're trying to approach that regulation, which in this instance amounts to censorship.
It's going to be a really interesting time in the UK because they had essentially ceded all of internet regulation to the EU when they were part of it. Right. Now that they're breaking, they get to set the agenda.
Interesting.
The EU has been aggressive, but not this aggressive.
Right, and in the discussions around internet regulation, when Britain was a part, and they're still a part of the EU, but in those contexts, the UK would usually be more on the side of a leniency, like where the US was, and Germany would be on the far other end.
Right.
So now we'll see Has the UK shifted a little bit? Are they swinging? Are they disassociating from like the US mentality? And what will the US do now that Donald Trump seems to be a little more eager toward regulation?
Well, even if we don't here in the US, when a country like England, a big country like England does this, it affects every company that works in it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I guess Google could change its search results in England and not here. They do that with the right to be forgotten in the EU, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but it sets a precedent. I think Mark's really right. Then it's a chase down. And part of the problem here is that we're concentrating. This is back to the Ev point. We're constantly concentrating on the bad. We're trying to play whack-a-mole with the bad. We're never going to get rid of 8chan and 4chan and the bad parts of Reddit. They're going to find a place to go. And if that's all we concentrate on, then we got a problem. Whereas if we find ways to support the good, and there's lots and lots of good, as Nate said earlier, then that's what we have to put our energy behind. And part of the problem is that the manipulation works so well that you do the bad stuff. The reports, the Storeful also has a report coming out Monday that we helped fund at NII, the thing I'm running now, News Integrity Initiative. And, it's fascinating to see how quickly things rise from 8chan and 4chan up to Breitbart, up to the world. And media is still set up at a point where they swallow it and they give it promotion. And that's the goal. And so that's the vision of the world that we see is a very tiny, small number of people who do crappy stuff get huge amplification in media. So it's not the fault of the internet. It's as much as fault of the media as anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to fix.
If you look at these rules at Facebook's, was this leaked to The Guardian? Yeah,
it was leaked. Yeah.
In the slide deck, and I guess this is used for training, they call it the Facebook files. It says that moderators often have just 10 seconds to make a decision. There's so much content that they have to review. One document says Facebook reviews more than 6.5 million reports a week on fake accounts alone. Fake accounts alone. I would hate to be, this would be a tough job and you'd have to work very quickly. And if you read the rules, it's not immediately obvious.
No.
For instance, videos of violent death, while marked as disturbing, do not always have to be deleted because they can help create awareness of issues such as mental illness.
If they celebrate or encourage, they're taken down. But if they are there, this is a journalistic issue. If you have Ferguson, if Facebook took down, if Twitter took down the videos from Ferguson, we never would have seen the Black Lives Matter outcry that was able to gather around it. So pictures of death matter.
It's difficult. Videos of abortions are allowed as long as there's no nudity. That's just weird. If you want to live stream attempts to self-harm, Facebook will allow it because, quote, it doesn't want to censor or punish people in distress.
These are hard decisions. The problem is you can read any of that stuff and say, oh my God, look what Facebook's doing to the world. No, look what the world is doing to itself.
Yeah.
And Facebook is in this position of judging now, and I'm not saying they do things right. They had the Vietnam napalm photo.
Right.
They've screwed things up, but these are hard human decisions. And an algorithm is not going to make them well.
And I got bad news for all of you. Anyone with more than 100,000 followers is a public figure, which means you don't have the same protections as a private individual. They've actually given it a numeric. Mark Million's quickly checking how many followers he has.
Well, you're already a public figure because the blue check mark next to your.
Oh God, you just missed.
Yeah.
I don't know what that, if that means you're going to get more abuse, but this Guardian article is interesting. I mean, I don't know. You're allowed to say kick a person with red hair, but you're not allowed to say someone shoot the president. You're allowed to say, I don't even want to read this. I don't even want to read this. You're allowed to say, let's beat up fat kids. But you can't say, I don't even want to read these. You should read the article. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But I mean, as Jeff said, these are the questions that they have to wrestle with because of the position they put themselves in.
They understand they have to be explicit and train people and say this is okay, this is not.
This is the company they built themselves to be.
Those are also guidelines driven by advertisers. It's what advertisers are willing to stomach. You look at what happened with YouTube when they were serving ads next to neo-Nazi videos.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, they were doing that for a long time until the advertisers started pulling.
Yep. It's not like other media where there's a problem of adjacency. Oh my God, you put my ad on Breitbart or on a neo-Nazi site or on a porn site, right? And Facebook, there's never once is the ad next to the same content, right?
Oh, so well, it's similar to YouTube.
It's on the column on the right, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's on somebody's page, and there's no adjacency there. Now they're changing that around instant articles. There's going to be adjacencies. Right now on Facebook, there's not an adjacency problem so much. So I'm not so sure that it's advertiser motivated as it is fear of regulation motivated and bad PR motivated.
But if you look at this, there's no way that if you're a member of Congress, you're going to say, oh, that's fine. Graphic violence. You can generally imagery of animal abuse can be shared. You might want to mark it as disturbing. Yeah, ooh. Ooh. And I could see Congress looking at this saying, well, no.
But then you have then let's say the Philadelphia Inquirer does a story on what's his name who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles now, who got in trouble for animal abuse.
Mike Vick.
Thank you. One real man among us.
He actually was retired now. He hasn't played for the Eagles for 2 seasons.
Two real men among us. I wouldn't know this.
Yeah.
But if you did a report on somebody snuck in and did animal abuse and says that he's doing this, then should the Philadelphia Inquirer's report be killed?
No. Right? That's news.
So the problem is the context. It just sounds like it's some sicko showing animal abuse. Well, maybe it's an expose of animal abuse. Maybe it's a necessary thing to let the world know what's going on.
And that's why there are these areas that are spelled out in Facebook's directions where it might be okay to publish some of these things, right?
Yes. But what Leo's point is, which is quite right, a member of Congress comes along and says, oh man, I got fresh meat.
Yeah.
These people allow pictures of animal abuse. How dare they? The speech writes itself.
Yep.